Hi everyone, I'm Gandhi with FloraCraft, and today we are making this Valentine wreath. I used our foam to make the hearts and the little balls to put the little roses on. So one more thing about our foam, FloraCraft, if you haven't heard, now makes our foam, and we use recycled plastic in our foam. So we're saving the landfills from a little bit of plastic. Well, quite a bit of plastic actually. So if you use whether use our white or our green, it's a post-consumer recycle. So if we want to go to, oh, sorry. Before we go to overhead, I wanted to say we have Tony on chat today. She is going to field all the questions, and if there's anything that you need me to repeat or slow down or see again, just let us know. We'll try to get your questions answered. And now if we can go to overhead, I'll show you what I found at Michael's to create this wreath. So the hearts are cut out of, this is our 12-inch wide by 18-inch long, and it's 1-inch thick CraftFōM sheet. You very well could use our green also. You will be able to get all the hearts out of this sheet. And then for the flowers, I used these 3-inch CraftFōM balls in white, and you'll need a knife, some kind of a saw or some kind of serrated edge steak knife, just a thin serrated edge knife to cut the balls in half. And then to put the hearts and the balls on, I bought this Ashland. It's just called a FloraCraft ring. It's like a MDF board. And this is the 16-inch we're using today. The rose bushes that I found, and this can be any flower. It could be literally any flower that has a little separate blossoms on it that you can stick into the balls. So I happen to use roses. Can be anything at all. So these are Ashland. It's just a rose bush. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Looks like there's 11 stems on this bush. So if you have a smaller bush, you just, I think we're probably going to use maybe 5 or 6 per ball. So as long as you have enough blossoms to cover each one. And you can even mix the florals. You don't necessarily have to use all a solid color. You could mix the florals, do different colors. You could add some greenery in there. It's all up to you. So for the fabric to cover the hearts, again, you can use any fabric. You can use one style of fabric, one pattern. You don't have to mix it all up and use all different patterns. I just did, just because it was kind of fun. So these happen to be the little fat quarters, the 18 by 21. But any color fabric, any print, or all the same print, it's up to you. Then I found these little wooden heart shapes, and that's literally all they are. They're just little thin wood hearts. And then to go around the edge of the big hearts, I found this, this is like a rippled satin, but you could very easily just use a plain pink satin, or just pick up one of the colors that are in your fabrics and use that to coordinate on the edge. You're just going to need something that's like, not quite, like this is 7/8, I believe. Yeah, 7/8 inch. works really good on the, it's a good size for the side of our 1-inch foam. So any 7/8 inch ribbon. And then you'll need a little piece of cardstock to make your heart template with. And then I just used baker's twine to string the garland. So for tools, I already said you'll need the saw to cut your balls in half and cut your hearts out of the foam. You'll need some scissors to cut your fabric and your template. You'll need some diagonal cutters or wire cutters to cut your floral stems. You will need a low temp glue gun for attaching the foam to the ring. And we use low temp on our foam just because the high temp a lot of times gets so hot that it melts the foam. So just make sure you're using a low temp, and if your gun has an option of low or high, just make sure you switch it on to low. And I think that's it for tools. And you'll need some kind of pencil to, of course, draw your template and trace it onto the foam. And I think that's everything. So the first thing I did was used my template to cut out my hearts. So you can bring your cart right to the corner and just start tracing. And it's not going to leave a really dark line, but when you're up close, it kind of makes a little bit of an indentation with the pencil, so you can still see it even though it's not a real dark line. The problem with using like a black marker or something like that is some of the lighter fabrics, you might be able to see that little bit of black marker through the fabric. So that's why I just usually just use something light and kind of scribe into the foam. So you're going to need 5 of these, correct? Yes, 5 of these. And then, two, I'm going to show you our clean cut foam cutter, which is another option for cutting out our foam. That works really well, and it makes a nice clean edge. So there's your 5, and you even have a little bit left over, which is good because there's another little project I was going to share with you too. All right, so what I do to cut stuff out is I just like do a piece out, and then you can kind of stand it on edge. You just want to make sure you get a nice even cut. You want to keep your knife at a 90-degree angle so that your edges are nice and straight. And if you get it done and you say, wow, I could have done a way better job than that, just take your scrap piece of foam and use it like a sanding block. And that will clean up that edge, make it nice and smooth and flat, and you'll never know. No one will ever know that you messed it up. Takes away all that little bumps. And if you do this over a paper plate or something, all this stuff here that I'm scraping onto the table makes beautiful artificial snow. So you scoop up all this stuff that you're scratching off, put it in a little baggie, and you can use it for your Christmas. It looks really pretty on like faux pine branches. You spray a little bit of spray glue on there and then sprinkle this snow on there. It's very realistic, very cool looking. All right, want to see another heart? So I'll show you real quick the cutter. So it's USB, plugs into a wall adapter. And if you try your adapter and it doesn't work at first, try a different adapter because some of them just don't want to work with this tool. So it takes about 20-ish seconds to 30 seconds to heat up. And then all you're going to do is follow your line. So take it in from the edge. You guys can see. You want to keep that blade at a 90-degree angle. You want to not push too hard. You don't want the blade to bend. You want to just let the heat do the work. And just follow your line. It's very relaxing. It's not a quick tool. It's just made to do intricate cuts, rounded cuts. It gets very hot. It will burn you. You have to use it in a well-ventilated area. And again, where you pull away, you just want to make sure you shut it back off. And then this little stuff that gets stuck on the blade, if you just take a piece of cardboard or a piece of paper, and while the thing is still hot, just run it on that piece of paper, and that cleans all that blade off for you. Well, that's our cutter, little short snippet of our cutter. So, and then where you stop, you might have a little bump. And again, you can just use your little sanding block and get that off there. All right. Another thing that's cool about the cutter is it's really easy to go inside. So if you have your heart shape and then you want to maybe make a frame out of it, you could just go right on the inside. It just pokes right in there really easy. Just stabs right in and make a little freeform heart. You could do people's names, you could do monograms, you could do so many things with this little fun tool. So just something else to show you. All right. So to do the fabric, I actually used the same template. I'll do this little polka dot. That kind of hurts my eyes. I'm gonna do this one. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I am going to share the link for this foam cutter if people are interested in buying that tool.
So all I do to do my fabric for my hearts is I just want the fabric to go over the edge of the heart just a little bit, not so far that it makes a bunch of pleats. I just want it to barely go over the edge. So I'm going to give it like, not maybe like a 1/4 inch all the way around. And I just literally eyeball it. So just kind of take your pencil and just kind of draw around or outside of your heart. And another thing about the heart, if this little middle piece is really deep, it's a little more difficult to get the fabric on there nicely. So if you make this little top V a little more shallow, it's a little easier to lay your fabric. Not that it can't be done the other way, but it's a little easier to wrap it when it's not so deep of a V. So that's about it. And I cut this out. And don't worry about the fabric not being ironed, because when you glue it to the heart, it's kind of gets stretched around it. So how many of you decorate for Valentine's Day? Did we ask where people were from yet? We didn't ask where people were from. Where are we calling from today?
We have
Anybody
a
wanna
quiet
share?
chat today. If anyone would like to share, we have Nashville, California, New York, Massachusetts, Utah,
Nice.
all over the place today.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
More people that are frozen like we are.
Yeah. Yeah, we're here in Ludington, Michigan, and we've probably got, what do you think, like 16, 18 inches of
Oh,
snow
yeah.
out there?
Easy.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
We have more Texas, Albuquerque, Connecticut, Knoxville, Ohio.
Nice. All right, guys. So as you can see, it's a little bit, just a little bit bigger than my home. Might have even made it a little bit too small, but I think I can do it. So what I do is I start like maybe like right here at the top of the hump with just a little bit of glue and just sneak that over the top, tap that in place. So you have that side. And then I would kind of smooth it out and go over to this other side. Make sure you keep your fabric straight on your heart. Go over to this other side and go kind of right along this top corner where the fabric's gonna come over the edge. So you want to get like right there. And then pull that over. And then I would go down here at the bottom. Look at it from the front to make sure that you don't have any wrinkles. And down here, a little more glue right there in the middle. And then once you have those 3 points secured, your fabric's pretty much straight on there. So now you can just go along and run a bead of glue along there. Fold all that fabric right over tight. Along this other side, yeah, this is where I got it a little bit short. Cut the other one a little bit bigger. Go there. Get all that pressed down. Oh, and I pulled my bottom a little too tight. So then right up here at the top, put some glue. Roll that over. So this class is being recorded, and in 24 to 48 hours, you'll be able to watch it on Michael's YouTube channel. And if you would like to share your creation that you make today, we would love to see it. You could, what is it? Hashtag make it with Michaels or hashtag FloraCraft. So that's about it. It's on there nice and tight, snug. And then to cover the edges, we just use our 7/8 inch ribbon, whatever pattern, whatever color you would like to use. I just like this little bit of ruffle on there, but totally up to you. I put the seam at the base of the heart just because it's a little easier to get it straight than trying to tuck it in there and glue it down. So for that, I just run glue, just a thin bead there and a thin bead along the back edge. That just holds down both sides, both edges of the ribbon for you. Makes it lay nice and flat. Do we have people out there that normally decorate for Valentine's Day? Is this are we selling? Are we making gifts? What are we just watching? I think we're just listening.
We have some people getting decorating ideas, and
Okay.
Robin, she makes wreaths.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I had done a lot of our extruded. We have an extruded foam wreath, and we have a XPS or a CraftFōM wreath, and I've used them quite a bit. So I saw this wooden wreath at Michael's and thought, I liked that it was thin because the flowers on the balls kind of stick out quite a ways. So I didn't want the thickness of the wreath and the flowers. So that's why I chose this wreath today. All right. And that is it with the little pink on there. One more, just someone is coming in late. So like I said, I'm going to use about a 1/4 inch. A little over a 1/4 inch. I'll make this one a little bigger and just see if it's a little easier to. Oops. Oh. Is there anybody in the audience that has done a premium class, Michael's class yet? Anybody tried one? Does anybody know about the premium classes?
Yeah, we have, what is that? So Michael's is offering free and premium classes. So we're just curious on how those are going.
So in a premium class, you would have a little more I guess, a little more instruction, a little more in depth about the topic. And you would be able to finish the project during the class. Like a lot of times I'll speed up and say, well, you know, you do this and blah, 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 blah. Well, in the premium, I guess you will be able to finish the project with the instructor. So if FloraCraft was to do a premium class, what would you guys want to see? What about foam that you would just love to know how to do? Anybody? Starting again here. So I made the cut a little bit bigger. I am going to go to this top rounded corner. Did we get an answer about what they'd like to see? All right.
Floral arrangements in a fake pumpkin would be fun. That would be a seasonal idea.
Yep. So, I mean, with like foam techniques, like different things that you can do with foam, would that be helpful? Or all right, got my 3 points there, and at the bottom. So now I can just start, run it right along that top edge and get the rest of this down. I was really hoping somebody was going to say, yeah, we've already done the premium class. Well, we loved it because
We do have someone that asks, how do you secure foam to the bottom of a container? Is there a specific material or tape?
you're talking this kind of foam, crunchy foam, XPS or craft foam, or are you talking?
Probably just in general for the craft. I would say probably the CraftFōM or FloraFōM for arrangement.
So if you're doing craft foam, you might be able to just glue it into the bottom of the pot with like a low temp glue. If they also have it's called anchor tape. It's like a super thin, maybe like a 1/4 inch, almost like duct tape, basically like duct tape, but it's super thin. And they use that. It's just really sticky, so it sticks really good to like plastic and glass vases. And they'll use that kind of over top. Like if this was your foam inside your container, they would just do like a string that way and a strip that way. And that kind of holds it down in the pot. Yeah. The glue. If there's no way to glue it, you can just put your foam in and then cut smaller pieces and use them like a wedge and wedge them down in the pot, like next to your block. And that'll just the force of wedging them in there will hold it in there pretty good for you too.
And I think we do have coming up basics of floral arranging. So we'll be going more in depth with that if you look at the Michael's class schedule.
Yeah, and I just did one too. When did I do that last? I went over some floral arranging tips in the January. That might have been a basics of floral arranging too. And I went over some tips about floral arranging. I'm using this light pink satin just to show you guys that what it looks like with a different color on there. Oops. All right, so I think we kind of get the idea with the hearts. Now, I'll show you. So you're going to take your, I'll do it with a steak knife just to show you that it can be done with a steak knife. I always put my hands over the top of it when I'm cutting it, just to kind of keep it steady. So you're just going to cut it in half. So there's that. Pretty easy. And then if you use like a more aggressive tooth, it's going to cut a little faster for you. So either method is just fine. Bread knife would work. So you're only going to need 5 of these, so you'll have an extra little half ball to do something with. All right, and then our little roses. So I'm seriously wondering if we just pop them off. I know I didn't do that with those, but if we just pop them off, just pull them right off the tip of the stem, add a little glue to this little bump, and pop it right in the middle. Yeah, and that'll stay. Just let your glue dry. Now, if you want a little bit of green on here, you can save these little leaves and you can glue them in later. You want to add some greens. Put this one on the side. And we're just going to go 1 in the middle and then probably like 4 around the outside, it looks like. You might only need 5 of these per ball. I'm going to move that one over. So their stems are probably about 1 inch apart. Is about how I'm. Well, it looks like we're going to use 6 on here. Now, if your flowers don't have a strong enough stem when you pull it off this stem, you can just cut off like a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch and leave it in there, because this is a lot stiffer and it'll be a little easier to push into the ball for you. I'm going to say that's good. And then, like I said, if you want leaves, if you want a little green in there, you could glue these in like 3 together. That one's kind of funky. Or down here, have it be all around the outside edge. Because you're going to have all these extra leaves to use. They'll just get glued in between. And that too, if you don't, you won't have to use as many of your big florals, you can fill in a little bit with this green. It'll save you a little bit. This one's too big. It looks kind of cute with the little greens in there. And this could probably be, I mean, you could put Dusty Miller in there, or some fern in there, or some ivy. So it wouldn't be such a dark contrast in there. Like that. You could almost add another one if you wanted to make it a little fuller. So we'll do that again. We put one in the top. Blue. And then all the way around the outside edge of the center one. And again, these can be any kind of flowers. It'd be really cute with, like, you know, pink carnations or just really anything. Cover these up. One. Then little greens. Sometimes pays to save these little stems, because sometimes they come in handy for if you have some blossoms that popped off their stems, or if you have some extra blossoms laying around, you could turn them back into having a stem just by gluing them to the top of one of these. And they're nice skewers for if you're drying, like if you paint the foam and have to dry it. They're nice little cheap skewers for holding the foam while it dries. They just come in handy. Or you could just throw them away, because I keep way too many things. All right, so that's kind of the gist of the little floral balls. And these are quite a bit, the roses that I bought online are a little larger than the ones that I have on the actual project, but I think it's all going to be just fine. I'm doing 20 minutes. All right. Well, I can show you what I did to get them on the wreath, and it's just glue. So I took the hearts first, and I laid them out so they were even on the wreath. You just want to space them out. Oh, I'm cheating, you guys. Space them out so they're all evenly spaced around there. And then right at the kind of tip your heart up and put a little glue down and then secure it in place. One, and the glue, well, quite a bit of glue. I mean, you want enough that it's going to hold it on there for you. And then your floral ball, I just put a pretty good amount of glue right across the center of that ball and just flop it right on that frame. And across the middle and right next to that heart. There's that. So that's all we're doing to attach them to the wreath. And then these guys are pretty simple too. So all I did was lay out, I think there's 3 sizes in this bag. So I used the largest and the medium. And hopefully I'm not gonna run out. So you'll need 2 for every one because it's 2-sided, but it doesn't have to be either. You can do just string it and just do 1. The only reason I did 2 is because it was a little heavier, so it laid a little nicer. But if you want to just do it 1-sided, it works that way too. We're easy around here. And I think there's like 11. So then all I did, get all these guys out of the way, was just laid out the string and glued them on it. Need a little cleaner upper helper. All right, and your bigger twine. Let's see, how big of a piece did I use? Probably about .28" work. So I just laid my little guys where I wanted them. I'm gonna lay them all out that way. And there is a right and a wrong side to these. So if you lay the face side down of all of these guys and figure out how far you want them spaced apart. And if you work on one of these little mats, you can even kind of use it as a guide so you know that it's spaced right and straight. So I just laid all these out and put little dots of glue on them and then laid the string in there. I make it sound so easy. Hopefully it is. Hopefully that's exactly how it works. So I just made a little line with my glue. I'll lay the string in there and I'll lay the other one on top with a little more glue. That's all I did. And a little bit of glue. Put the string in it. Maybe we don't even need another batch of glue. Let's try to just stick it on top and see if it squishes it through. Yeah, that's going to hold it. So just a string of glue, lay your string in it. Oh, add your top part. Something like that. Am I too far down on the screen? Can you guys see? And these could be painted. You could use, you could glitter them. Be cute glittered. Bring a little string of lights with them. And to get the garland right. And this doesn't have to be baker's twine. I just liked that it was pink, but you could absolutely use any string, yarn, anything would work. It's got Creatology with a phone number on it. All right. So that's the little garland, the little fun heart garland. And like I said, you could glitter it or paint it or leave it blank or whatever. Glue little conversation hearts in the middle of everyone. Be kind of cute. All right, where are we? So here's your garland, and there's the flowers. So I have a little tiny bit of time. I could show you a couple other ideas for covering the, actually you could cover the hearts or the balls. So if you take like, I'd say probably maybe 2 by 2 little squares of, and this is tulle. You could use ribbon, you could use fabric. I just liked this tulle because it's glittery. I don't know if you can see it glitter out. Probably not glitter out. Camera, but it has little glitter flakes in it. And then all you do is make a bunch of these squares and take one of your balls or your heart, whichever you want to use. And you're going to take a pointed, like metal nail file, or actually we have at FloraCraft in our foam toolkit, comes with a knife. It comes with a this little scribe and tuck tool and a little rasp in the kit. So this little tool here that's in the kit, this end is we call our tuck tool, and that's literally what it is. You just take your fabric or whatever and lay it on your foam and just tuck it in. Oh, this is kind of thin. Probably have to fold it. It's so thin it pokes right through it. But so then you just go like that and you make that little poof. So we're gonna fold it, and then that folded corner, you just tuck it right in, and you tuck them in like about a 1/4 inch apart. And you just keep on going until it's all totally covered. And then you have a fun little puffy little decoration and an option instead of flowers if you want something a little more glitzy. But that's all there is to that. And you would do this with if you used a ribbon, you would just cut little pieces of ribbon. If I do ribbon, I would do like a little dovetail on the ends of your ribbon just to make it cuter. But I would cut like, I don't know, 2-3 inch pieces, depending on how far you want it to stick out from the ball. And then you would tuck those in just the same way. And then you'd have little ribbon tails on your ball. It's kind of hard to say when it's not all the way done, but you kind of get the idea. So the other thing you can do, which is super simple and would be fun and would look really cool, is if you paint your hearts either red or pink. I always just dump the paint right on there and swish it around just because it's easier. But if you paint, and if you want red glitter, then paint your heart red. If you want pink glitter, then paint your heart pink. If you want, whatever color glitter you're using, use the same color paint. That way when the glitter rubs off, you still have that color underneath and it's not just going to show white foam under there. A little bit of camouflage. And also, the paint will act as a glue. So while it's still good and wet, don't let it dry. While it's still good and wet, right after you paint, just come back with your glitter. And it's just a beautiful coat. It just really hides the foam underneath when you paint it that same color. And then you get that really pretty glittered heart, or the fabric heart, or the floral heart. And then another quick thing I'll show you. This is just another idea that you already have the template and you have a little bit of extra foam there. So this is just a cute idea for maybe a little gift box. If you're getting somebody some jewelry or something and you want to make a personalized gift box. So I just took my foam block and I sanded the edges rounded instead of square. I can show you that kind of. So I rounded that edge and I rounded this back edge, and I left the insides flat so they would nest together nicely. And then I just took a spoon and went inside my heart and just start scraping out the middle, and it'll make a nice little dish. And then you can decorate the heart with your fabric or with this or with the glitter. Tie a little ribbon around it and a little bow to keep it closed. And then when they open up the ribbon, they'll have a cute little whatever gift inside there. So that's just a little something you can do with the leftover foam. And then if there's not any more questions so far, I can show you guys what's coming up the pike. So February 2nd, we have a floral wreath. And I did this one kind of springy because, oh, can we go? Oh, sorry. Thank you, Chanel. I did this one kind of springy just because, I mean, February is kind of a stretch for spring, but you know, it's starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel anyway, but can be done in any color. So just going to show you how to put together a super easy floral wreath with only 2 kinds of blossoms and a little bit of greenery. Super simple. And then on March 23rd, we have, this is called this is the floral arranging basics that Tony mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to teach you some basic how to put arrangements together, some of the tips and tricks and rules, not really rules, guides for you. And then a cool way to decorate your container, the inside of your container with the foam inside there. So another cool idea from March 23rd. And I'll bring this out. Show you guys the finished. And I guess there aren't any more questions. I'll go ahead and say goodbye then. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for making it fun with FloraCraft.